It's Frustration Friday, February. It's triple F. Work. He's cutting his beard off, you guys. I'm so sad. Such is the life of being a makeup artist. Your chest hair to play with, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's not going anywhere.
That's not going anywhere. Great. Yay, chest hair. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wigging Out with Bobby Z. It's one of those fun Friday videos, and today it's going to be Frustration Friday. Although first things first, today is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day out there to everybody who's my subscriber, my followers, people watching my video right now. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you guys. This is my first Valentine's Day where I actually had a Valentine, and he's actually starting dinner right now because he has to go to work. So if you hear pans clanging or fire or people screaming, that's what that is. Today's Frustration Friday is about miscommunication and learning to keep your mouth shut. Me learning to keep my mouth shut and other people learning to keep their mouth shut as well. The whole point of this video is just me like venting about something that happened and that I was in the wrong, but also I was not the only person in the wrong. And I think that that's the first step to admitting that something happened and admitting that, you know, something went wrong is to admit your fault. So I'm admitting that this was all my fault, but other people got it a little more carried out of hand than I did. So this starts off a couple months ago. A picture on Bernadette through Instagram, I think, of my face, and I was like, ooh, you know, taking a picture. And this guy that I talked to before, he'd sent me pictures of wigs that he was making and stuff. And he seemed nice up until this point, sends me this picture, and he says, oh, the way you do your eyes is all wrong. This is what you should do. And he actually took, I mean, granted, it was nice of him to do this, but he took the time out to, like, Photoshop the correct eye makeup and contour and lip and stuff on my picture. And to me, that kind of sends up a red flag right there. Not only just telling me you're doing a Photoshop of it. So for me, that's kind of like, get a life, I guess. I don't know. And I mean, like, I understand where he's coming from. He's trying to be helpful and everything. But so then I wrote him back, and I was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate your input. But this is how I'm doing my eyes, and I don't have time to fix them. So, like, this is what I'm doing. And I was like, he was like, okay, yeah, no problem. And then a couple days later, I was on YouTube, and some like stupid, busted drag queen of a person was leaving me comments on my video, giving me critiques about my makeup and my hair. And I'm just like, honey, you're badly lip syncing in a shake and go wig in like a half-inch pump. Like, seriously, I'm at least putting in some effort here. Don't give me critiques. So this started this whole snowball effect of me realizing I hate when people give unwarranted critiques. It's one thing if I'm coming to you and I'm saying, hey girl, what do you think of my face? Or hey girl, what's up? What do you think of my dress? Does it make me look fat? Does it do whatever? That's fine. Give somebody a critique. Tell them, okay, well, you know, that eyebrow's a little high, that eyebrow's a little low, that wig's a little flat, you know, whatever. But if they don't ask you, keep your critiques to yourself. I've always said is that, you know, oh, well, you should do this differently with your face. You should do this differently with your costume. You should do this kind of different thing with your personality or your performance. But I'm not here, you know, ripping apart the tragic wig that's on your head that should have been washed 3 weeks ago and needs reset. Am I? No. So I just think that it's common courtesy and polite to just not critique people, especially when you don't know them. Like, this guy didn't know me from Adam. He's my Facebook friend on Bernadette's page. I have a lot of friends on Bernadette's page who I don't know. That's the first part. It's just, I don't think it's necessary to critique people that you don't know, especially when it's unwarranted, because you don't know how it's going to come across. You don't know how it's going to make you come across. That was, like I said, that was months ago. So then fast forward to, you know, last week, I get this message from a queen looking for a wig. And, you know, we're talking, and she seems really nice, and she's telling me what she wants, and I quoted her a price, and then she asked if the price was for human hair or synthetic hair, and I said, oh, it's for synthetic hair. You know, human hair is at least triple what that price is, usually. And she asked me, well, will the synthetic hair hold a curl? And I was kind of like, that's like drag 101. You should know that synthetic hair should hold a curl. I put this on my drag page, of course, and I put on Facebook, a drag queen just messaged me asking if synthetic hair would hold a curl. Like, hashtag, what kind of drag queen are you? And, like, it got a ton of likes and it got a ton of comments. And everyone was, like, tagging their drag friends in it, being like, oh, bitch, what did you do to her now? Like, joking around that, like, their friends were the ones that, like, made the mistake or whatever. And then one person, he wrote, wow, what a reaction to a simple question. You're an authority on hair, natural and synthetic. Reactions like these only further the stigma that queens are catty and unapproachable. You are a teacher, and it seems like you've been a sincere question. The goal is to educate, not alienate. Much love and respect. So I totally agree with that. Like, I'm not, you know, saying that I was in the right or anything by saying what I said. And I wrote back and I said, I totally understand and agree with you. I was very cordial with her and I answered nicely. I get asked common sense knowledge questions like this on a daily basis, and occasionally I vent about it. That's what Facebook is. Facebook is a social network, and you can vent about stupid shit in your life. That's the point of it. And if a drag queen writes to me and doesn't know anything about synthetic hair, and yet she's a drag queen, to me that's kind of like, how do you not know that? It's common knowledge to drag queens. Like I said in my last Frustration Friday video, common sense is not so common. So, you know, whatever. Then it got worse a couple days later. I shared a Facebook status update of a New York nightlife promoter friend of mine on Facebook. And the Facebook status, I totally agreed with. I loved it. It was amazing. Food for thought. It seems now that putting makeup on makes you a drag queen. Taking a picture makes you a photographer. Getting your picture taken makes you a model. Acting in a porn film makes you a porn star. It seems the emphasis is no longer on the quality, but on the attempt at doing it even once. It took me forever to admit I was a promoter, and I guess I only call myself the things that other people recognize that I do at a better level than mediocre. And I reposted this, and I was like, yes, this is amazing. Totally awesome. I totally agree with this. Because, like I said, there's drag queens going around that don't know the difference between synthetic hair and human hair that are calling themselves a drag queen because they went and bought some Maybelline and threw it on their face. And there's people calling themselves wig makers that are, like, hot gluing hair on a styrofoam head and selling it to people. And, you know, there's people that do one porn and call themselves a porn star. And it's like, you did one porn for some crappy studio and you got bread on camera. Like, doesn't make you a porn star.
It was one time in Cabo, okay?
And so I totally agree with him, is that the emphasis is no longer on the quality, it's just that you did it. And that's not how it works. Like, I mean, I even calling myself a drag queen most of the time, I'm kind of like, am I really a drag queen? Because I'm not out in the scene a lot. I don't go out weekly. I don't do every pageant and contest that there is. I don't perform a lot. I just do it for fun. So I guess I'm more of like, I'm not a career drag queen. I'm like, I don't know, a seasonal drag queen? I don't know. Seasonal makes it sound like I've been doing it forever, and I've only been doing it a year. No, seasoned, I guess it would be. So seasonal. I guess I could say seasonal. I don't know. Part-time drag queen? Whatever. I'm just not into the whole scene and everything, so I'm sure there's people out there that wouldn't consider me a drag queen, and honestly, I agree with you. I kind of think that I'm not really a drag queen most of the time because I'm not out there doing and working as hard as all these other girls are to get the title of being a drag queen. That being said, I got a comment on that post from somebody who also does, you know, a wig channel and whatever, and this kid's wig channel is about, him learning how to make wigs. And it's his adventures and everything through that, and he'll be showing techniques and everything. And I think that's a great idea, and I applaud him for that. His ventilating's beautiful. I've seen his knots. I've seen he did like a frontal piece, and he looked really good. Like, his knots are beautiful, and he's on the right track, and he's very talented. And I don't know if he'll be watching this because of what happened next, but if you're watching it out there, just know that I'm sorry for what happened, and I apologize for any miscommunication that happened, and I think you are very talented. And I'm trying to, you know, try to learn from the situation and try to figure out what happened and how to benefit me from this whole situation. He left me a comment saying that I was becoming very catty and bitchy and arrogant, and he agrees with what I shared, but who am I to judge somebody who just found a passion and they're learning for it, they're learning it and everything. And, you know, they could eventually become great if they're not great at day one. And so then someone else that's a photographer friend of mine said that he agrees with it and that calling me arrogant made him look stupid. And then he said that we'll have to agree to disagree. And there was like a little not a mini fight, but they were both like, we'll have to agree to disagree because I'm not going to be in a slanging match, whatever. And then I wrote back and I said, I'm sorry you're feeling that way about me, but like you just said, everyone is entitled to their opinion and the photo above is mine, hence why I posted it. Additionally, I do know that it takes time and it takes practice. I say that all the time in my videos. It's never going to happen overnight, and the honor and distinction that comes from that practice and determination is the ability to call yourself a drag queen, a photographer, etc., etc. I understand where you're coming from, and this post isn't from arrogance, it's from frustration. And then he wrote back, I'm sorry if I offended you. Perhaps arrogance was too strong a word. I'm a huge fan. You already know that. I think as long as you and your clients and followers know that what you produce is quality, that's all that matters. So that was that. And he and I, you know, we're on a good foot. We're cool. But then next thing I know, the photographer friend of mine that commented sends me a message and starts going off. And this is somebody that I don't know. He lives in Europe. I think I might have emailed with him once or twice before this occasion. So he emails me and he starts talking about someone that's a Facebook friend of mine. And I ask him who, and he tells me. And it's that same guy that did the Photoshop picture. It's the same guy that was giving me critiques and everything. And I had already told this guy to stop. And he was like, well, you need to just be more open. You need to be nicer. You need to, you know, you need to take a compliment and everything. And I'm like, I am taking a compliment. But when I tell you repeatedly not to critique my work without me asking you to do it, you know, I'm going to get angry at you. And I did. So this guy emails this photographer friend of mine, said, yeah, that post Bobby put up was really arrogant, and I agree, but I think it's really more to do with what he does, which is making wigs. But I was looking at your profile, and how can you call yourself a photographer? You know, you've only been doing this X amount of time, your photographs aren't that good, they're edited down to shit, you're photoshopped, and all of this stuff, ripping apart this man's photography portfolio via Facebook message to a person that he does not know. And to me, that just, like, that is, I can't even put it into words how much that angers me. Because that's not cool. And it's like, who are you to tell somebody that their photography is shit? And who are you to tell somebody that they shouldn't, that they're using too much Photoshop? Especially somebody that you don't know. And I think that that's what a lot of people don't understand with Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, is that these people think because they watch your videos, these people think because they like your page, they follow you, they think that they know you and they get comfortable with you, and they think that they can tell you something like that, and they're hoping that it won't be hurtful. But honestly, any unwarranted critique that I've ever gotten, regardless of how nice or not nice it has been hurtful. Because it makes you feel insecure, and it makes you feel unworthy, and it makes you feel like you've done something wrong. When in reality, you've done nothing wrong. You've done true to yourself, and you've done the best of your ability. And that's also kind of what that post with that's also what the comment was about with my post, was that I'm not saying not to practice, and I'm not saying to not try making wigs or to try to be a drag queen or to try to be a photographer. I'm not saying not to do that. Go for it. Like, that's why I have videos. I have videos to help people learn what I do and learn what I love to do, and that's why I'm here. And having somebody call me arrogant and catty and bitchy when I'm just trying to say, don't use the title too early, kind of like hurt my feelings and upset me. Then after all of that happened, and this guy, you know, he emailed this stranger out of nowhere and was calling me arrogant and was criticizing his work and all of this stuff, and I was just appalled. And I sent him a message and I was like, look, that's really not cool. You know, you're messaging a stranger out of nowhere and you're calling me arrogant, and yet here you are critiquing somebody else's work that you don't know out of the blue, unwarranted. I would never do that. So then, to make matters worse, I decided to open my mouth again and make a Facebook status about the whole situation. I had blocked him. I had sent him that message. I blocked him. I deleted him. I didn't want to hear from him ever again. He had been bothering me for a while, and this was the last straw, so I just deleted him. but I made like a generic Facebook post, and it's woof. I have a huge problem with people finding it necessary to belittle and critique people when their opinion wasn't asked for, especially when it's Facebook friends attacking other Facebook friends that they don't know based on comments left on my posts. My post was about quality over quantity, and it was not from a place of arrogance, but it was from a place of frustration. I would never discourage anyone from learning and building their craft, but I do have a problem with the premature title that comes along with it. These titles take hard work, determination, and drive to obtain, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. You call me arrogant, and yet here you are giving a total stranger unsolicited and rude critiques of their work via email, all based on agreeing with me on a post. There is a difference between being arrogant and knowing you do something well that you've studied and worked hard for. To me, arrogance is messaging a total stranger out of the blue and critiquing their work when they never reached out to you to begin with. I would never, ever do that. You are hiding behind your insecurity and your abilities by belittling other people with false arrogance, and when in reality, you are the one who needs to step down, back up, and check yourself. You can totally think I'm arrogant for being proud of what I do and having no patience for posers and wannabes, but don't go out of your way to call me arrogant by tearing somebody else down. Rude. Had to go and I had to vent. And that's what Facebook is. Facebook is a place for you to become exasperated. Facebook is a place for you to express your frustration. It's an outlet. And that's why we have the Facebook friends we have, and that's why we're in the circles and the groups we are in on Facebook, is so that we can talk with like-minded people. And that was the whole point of my status, was just like, woof. Drag queens call themselves drag queens, don't know what synthetic hair does. Like, to me, it does seem common knowledge. And like I explained to that guy who left me a comment, I always try to be cordial and I always try to be nice. But in my head, I'm just like, how do these children not know these things? And I have to remind myself that not everyone knows what I know. Not everyone does what I do. That's fine. Be nice. Answer the question, Bobby. And let out a frustration post once a month instead of 3 in 1 week. Learn your lesson. YouTube guy, I go to his page and I go to send him a message just apologizing for the whole situation and saying that I was in the wrong and that my post was kind of arrogant and I'm sorry. And I explained to him again, like, I was like, I didn't mean it like that. That's not what I meant. You're misconstruing what I'm saying. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm all about encouraging people. It's just the title that comes with it. Like, it's just, to me, there's a fine line between aspiring and becoming. There's a fine line. He read my message and he didn't say anything back. And then I looked on his page and he had deleted me as a friend, and he had deleted the posts that he had made about my YouTube channel and everything on his page as well, which I can't blame him. He doesn't like me. Status was basically about, Facebook is a meeting ground and it's for those of us who want to learn and develop, and he always answers questions openly without judgment, and he won't belittle you and he won't judge you about it, and he won't stop making tutorials and asking for money. And it's just kind of like, I understand where he's coming from, and I agree with him that it's like, you shouldn't do that, and I'm trying not to do that, but if I make a Facebook status update about it, it's from frustration, and it's not from arrogance, and it's not from like, who are these kids today thinking they are? It's like, it's frustrating. It's like, you're a drag queen. You should know these things. It's like, honey, let me pat you on the head and like teach you something. Facebook status update, and was basically very pointed at me and all of that stuff. And I sent him another message and I apologized yet again. And I sent him the screen captures that my photographer friend had sent me of the critiquing guy's messages. This is very confusing without using names, but I don't want to use names. And I even sent him those pictures, and I sent him pictures of his email back to him. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you at all. Like, you and I are cool. Like, we're fine. I'm not talking about you. And then, like, the emails disappeared from my inbox, so that just means that he blocked me. Which I feel really bad when this kind of stuff happens, when it's like a misconstrued and a misinformation and all of that. But at the same time, it's like, the guy that was critiquing everything, like, I can't speak from experience, but if you're going out of your way to give somebody critiques and slander their work and, throw me under the bus, I'm sorry, but that's your issue, and that's a self-confidence issue. There's a lot of issues there that I can't even begin to dive into, just for people to want to do stuff like that. And this other guy, like, I feel really bad because he's been really nice, and his blog is great, and his page is great, and he has a very talented aspiring hobbyist wig maker, and it's, you know, it was all just taken the wrong way, and it was, you know, misconstrued. And I just had to kind of talk about what had happened with that whole situation on here to you guys. It's, if you saw it, that's what it, you know, was. And it's just kind of frustrating. And I think that I learned a big lesson, and I hope that others learned a lesson as well. And for me, I learned to not let out my frustrations so much on my drag Facebook. I might leave those to my real Facebook, where I'm friends with other wig makers and people that are in my field. Learned from this whole situation is like to watch what I'm saying and to watch what I'm doing, because, you know, people are out there and people will misconstrue anything, and people are so quick to jump on you and attack you, and people are so quick to put words in your mouth, and people are so quick to misconstrue what you're saying into something that puts you in a bad light. And, you know, it's frustrating, hence why I'm making a Frustration Friday blog about it. And, but you guys can see I'm smiling. I'm not angry about this situation anymore. This was a week ago, and I was angry for about a day, and it really frustrated me because I'm one of those people where I don't like people having ideas of me that aren't in a perfect light. I'm not a perfectionist by any means, but I don't like people thinking ill of me, and I don't like people thinking badly of me. And this whole situation, and I was at work, I was at Motown, I had a 2-show day at Motown when this all went down, and I was just in a terrible mood, and that show was so busy, and, like, it's just a lot, it's a big show, and you're busy the whole time, and I was in a terrible mood for the whole day because of this whole thing, and then I realized, like, you know, it is my fault. I started it. I put up the Facebook post. I can't be mad at anybody but myself, except for the guy that, you know, goes out of his way to critique people that he doesn't know out of nowhere and throw me under the bus. You know, him I'm angry at. But this other YouTube guy and my photographer friend, I'm not mad at either of them. Whatever happens, happens. It's fine. You know, it's an experience, and it's, you know, it's how it works. So that's just life, and not everyone's going to like you, and not everyone's going to agree with you, and my mother told me that when I was little, and I have to tell myself that pretty much every day, is that not everyone's going to like you, not everyone's going to agree with you. There's going to be someone out there who has something against you for no reason. You know, you can remind them of their next door neighbor from growing up that, like, kicked their dog, or you might remind them of their high school teacher that always gave them detention. There's so many reasons for somebody not to like you that are not even at all to deal with who you are or what you are as a person. And I think that going forward, I need to watch what I'm saying on Facebook. I need to not belittle people on Facebook. I learned a lesson, and I hope that, you know, my critiquing friend learned a lesson too. If you're going to go around and you're going to message random people and give them critiques of their work when they didn't ask for it, just to prove a point and prove that I'm arrogant, you're doing a disservice, and you're actually pointing the fingers at yourself, because I'm not the one going around doing that, because that's uncalled for. That is just uncalled for. And yes, I understand, like, making a generic Facebook status about it is kind of passive-aggressive and uncalled for as well. And I understand that, and that's why I said I'm going to be watching what I'm putting on Facebook from now on. But yeah, I think that, you know, this was less of a Frustration Friday video as it was like a talking about being frustrated video. Random common knowledge questions or not, I do love you all, and I do appreciate all of you, every single one of you, and every single message and comment I do, and I see them. I can't necessarily reply to all of them, but I do get them. And I love you all for that, and I love you all for being so supportive and giving me ideas and ways to better myself, and as a teacher, as a YouTube personality, as, you know, just an overall better person. And that's what I love the most about having this outlet, is that I think it's almost like free therapy. And I think that's, you know, part of it is that it's free therapy, and it helps me to know that there's other people out there that support me, and there's other people out there that believe in me, that I don't know, that don't know me. And I think that that's great. And I really like that. And that's why I do these videos, is because I know there's people out there that want to learn. And I know there's people out there that are dying for knowledge. And I'm giving you the knowledge that I can. And like I said before, I'm giving you the knowledge that I learned when I first started doing wigs. When it comes to construction, such as adding a lace front to a wig, when it comes to doing a full lace wig, when it comes to doing a big elaborate updo, when it comes to doing specific roller set patterns and comb outs. That's my business, and that's what I do. And I think that that's another part of it, is that this YouTube guy, he even said, I'm not a professional, this is my hobby. And I think that's where the disconnection and the disagreement and the misunderstanding between us comes from, is because he's not a professional. He doesn't do this for a living. This is his hobby. This is what he's learning to do for fun. And that's great. I love it. Like, I love the idea of, like, instead of going and knitting or instead of, painting, he's making wigs. And I think that that is so great, because it is a dying art, especially it's a dying art of people doing it well. And I think that that's where the misunderstanding came from, is that I do this for a business. I teach wig making classes. I teach wig styling classes. And if I put that on YouTube for free, who's going to come to my class? Who's going to pay for me to teach them? Who's going to have me come speak at a salon or speak at a school or do a master class on period styling? If I put all of that stuff out for free, that's my business. That's what I do for a living. That's what people pay me to do. It's kind of like, well, I got myself into this mess. I got to get myself out of it. I hope that he sees this. I know he used to subscribe to my channel. I probably does not anymore. But if he does, I want him to see this video, because I just want him to know that there's no malicious feelings between us. I'm not angry at you. I was never angry at you. I was never discouraging of you. I encourage you. You're so talented, and you're so new at this, and you're already so talented. I was nowhere near that great at ventilating when I first started. I'm still not that great. I don't think so. But we all are our own worst critic. Wow, that took me like 16 times to try to say that. We all are our own worst critic. Wow, that's a mouthful. So I hope you're out there watching this video and you're seeing this. I don't want to say your name or your channel or anything, because I don't want people to, go to your page and be like, what happened with Bobby? Oh my God, what'd you do? Because that's just not cool. So I just wanted to give you a shout out and just say that I really do enjoy your videos, and I really do enjoy what you're doing. I think you're on the great track, and I think you're on the right track. And I don't want there to be any hard feelings between us. So on my end, no hard feelings, nothing to be angry about at all. I have no reason anyway at all to be angry. So that being said, thank you guys again for watching and tuning in on this Frustration Friday video. Frustration, venting, crying in the inside video. I don't really know what this was. Be sure to check out all my fun social media stuff down on the box. Facebook.com/BobbyPins. Instagram, here on YouTube, Twitter, and Tumblr is WiggingOutBZ. Be sure to email me, info@BobbyPins.com. Also check out BobbyPins.com, my website, where I'm selling beautiful lace front wigs, wig blocks, brushes, combs, synthetic hair extensions, and all the fun stuff that you need to start working on your own wig projects at home. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys again next week for another Wiggy Weavy Wednesday. Not really sure what's going to go on this week, but stay tuned.